Welcome back to Buddy News Roundup. With me always are Nathan and Layla. We're going to look at some stories this week. We've got a dog wedding, a hero dog that saves his family, cats taking over the Doggy Dash. That's going to be interesting. Abandoned kittens rescued, and a pit bull who goes on a 5-year adventure. I can't wait to get started on all of these.
Yes,
Do it.
lots of fun today. All right, let's get started with an uplifting story about a dog wedding. I mean, how can you resist it?
The hope is that every wedding is memorable. You want to have fun stories to tell.
Now imagine the stories after going to a dog wedding today in Greensboro, and we had a front row seat.
First dog wedding ever, I think. I don't think I've ever heard of it happening before, but we wanted to try something new and fun to bring people together to commemorate Valentine's Day in February, the month of love. Lucy and Lincoln have been friends and playmates since they were puppies, and they hang around together. We go to places like for lunch or dinner, and we hang out together, and Lucy and Lincoln have always been together for the last 5 or 6 years.
Do you promise to always protect Lucy, to share your treats, even the bacon ones, and to stay by her side through every squirrel chase and thunderstorm?
We thought this might be a great thing to do every February. Next year we'll have a different groom and a different bride and let them share something special, and who knows, we could be doing it every month by the end of the year.
So by the power vested in me, by Doggo's Dog Park and Pub, and the love of dog kind, I now pronounce you lawfully bonded for life. You may share a sniff and enjoy a treat together.
You may share a sniff. Jinx, you owe me a Coke. Doggo's Dog Park hosted the wedding, of course. They asked guests to bring donations for Guilford County Animal Services.
They were so cute.
That was so doggone cute. I can't even get over it.
I had one. I was going to say something with a paw, but I couldn't think of it. You beat me. You're more creepy.
Fun. I like that the dog is Jewish, so he had a little yarmulke on his head. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Fun. I don't know if they crushed a glass. I think that's a tradition in Jewish weddings. Really neat and really great thing at the end where it's like, hey, instead of bringing gifts for the dogs, bring donations for our organization. Wonderful way to do that. Happy that these dogs are getting married and wish them nothing but happiness.
It's super fun. It is, when you look at numbers, I think over 80% of people that are getting married want to have their pet involved in their wedding somehow. So I think it was just a natural next step was to get the the dogs to get married. I think David's Bridal also did a dog wedding. I think it's super cute. I'm all for it. I want to see all the things dog weddings. I love people weddings, so dog weddings, even better.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I also noticed the yarmulke, and I said, I don't think he's going to have a problem with the bacon treats. I mean,
right? He shouldn't
maybe,
be having them anyway.
it's not kosher.
Listen, the sharing of the treats, my husband doesn't share treats with me. If I open his bag of Doritos, it's the end of the world. So, if the dogs figure out a way to share treats, they're going to have it better.
Get your own bag.
I mean, doggy wedding is great, but this guy back here, he's probably been through 3 doggy divorces. And I think he's not ready to get married again.
Right. And that's the sequel that we don't hear too much about.
Will be the
dirty
divorce
underbelly, if you will.
Oh boy. All right, here we go. A nice story about a pit bull that went on a 5-year adventure, made his way back home.
New at 9, a heartwarming story from Midland County. A lost dog is finally home after 5 years. Luna went missing back in 2021, and her family never stopped looking for her. Late last year, the Midland County Humane Society posted pictures of a dog they named Mary Kate up for adoption. We even featured her on TV5's Pet of the Day this past December. Well, Luna's mom saw Mary Kate on Facebook, and after sending multiple pictures to the shelter, everyone agreed Mary Kate is really Luna. She and her mom got to reunite and are finally back home together. I love this.
What an awesome story that we featured her on our Dog of the Day. And
incredible.
Maybe that helped them realize that.
I
that
hope
was
so.
Luna. I hope that was the case because not everyone gets that privilege.
No.
But it's good to see.
Reunion 5 years in the making.
This is crazy to me. We've had a couple of these stories now where the dogs are getting lost and reunited with their owners, which is great. But it's, it's not 2 weeks, it's not a month, it's not even, oh gosh, it's been 6 months. It's years. So we were talking a little bit before we went on air, and Nathan's like, what are these dogs doing during that time? And that's a really good question.
Where do they go for 5 years? I just want to know where they go for 5 years. I don't know how they survive. I don't know what happens to them. I think it's amazing that they were found. Even more amazing that they were found because somebody was watching the news and thought that looked like their pet. Wild, just wild.
Yeah, it's definitely a movie to be written, a Buddi original movie. What happened and how they get reunited. I'm glad that the local news is doing the adopt a pet stories. A lot of local news does that because you never know, right? It might be your missing pet that ends up at the shelter. So that's great. All right, let's move on. We got a good one here with some kittens that got rescued, and it's a good story.
3 weeks old and fighting to stay alive.
They were found in what I believe to be like a utility trailer.
Megan Manai, founder of the Phoenix and Friends Rescue, said she got a call from a worker at the Clairton Coke plant, concerned by harmful substances put in the same trailer and asking for help. When the kittens arrived to her, she called for backup from Amanda Coates with Kitten Scoop, where dozens of rescued and now healthy cats are awaiting adoption.
They were in pretty rough shape, covered in tar, very young, didn't have a mom. The chances are low.
Tar is a substance that's going to bind to their fur and to their skin, and unfortunately is toxic.
Now they're on pneumonia watch and for any other breathing concerns. In a statement to Pittsburgh's Action News 4, a U.S. Steel spokesperson said in part, quote, "We have collaborated with animal rescue organization Feline Fighters and for many years and actively work to spay/neuter adult cats to help control the population. We rescue kittens we find, many of which our employees adopt, and if adoption is not possible, they are taken in by the rescue organization. Safety is our top priority, and that includes the safety of the animals that may make their way onto our property." The kitten's mom has yet to be rescued. Coates says she's trying to reach the plant to offer her services to rescue the mom as well as any other cats on the property to get them spayed, neutered, and given proper care.
If U.S. Steel in Clairton is willing, we will definitely come in and trap everyone all at once using our equipment and our traps and everything else. We just need to have access to the property and the ability to perform our duties properly.
Manai praising the rescue efforts of the worker who ultimately got the kittens here.
I'm really thankful that the employee was able to get them out to us to safety, and of course to Amanda for, not even hesitating for a second.
To help support the kittens' recovery or the other efforts of the Kitten Scoop Rescue, just click on this story on our WTAE app. Covering Westmoreland County in Greensburg, Kaylee Gunderson, Pittsburgh's Action News.
Crazy story, something to remember from this story. So the kittens are in rough shape. They're in the back of a storage area. They're, they maybe have tar on them and their eyes are closed. But the person did the right thing. The worker who found them called somebody else, to take care of them. That's what you want to do a lot of times in these circumstances. Call somebody, call the Humane Society, call cat rescue, call dog rescue. Even, some of our friends like the Cowboy Cat Wrangler over there in the other side of Pennsylvania, he'll come out and help out, right, if he can. But, don't try to do this yourself. You might be hurting them more than you're helping them. And Layla, all I could think about was our little guy, Buddi, who we got about 2 years ago, a little bit more now than 2 years ago.
Yeah. He was a little teeny tiny thing, and he was abandoned in a parking garage, and he was blind and all the things, like he had the eye thing going on. But luckily he was given to a rescue that knew how to handle it, and they got in touch with us. They actually brought him to a taping that we did, and I absolutely fell in love with him. And I remember Ryan standing behind the camera saying, "No, we are not taking another cat." And I said, "No, we're not taking another cat, except we're going to take this one." He's super adorable. He's very, very big now. But that's how this is supposed to work, right? You're supposed to, when you rescue these guys, that's why we're big proponents of adopt, don't shop at Buddi, because we want these little guys that are always, we're trying to save all these animals and we're trying to get them spayed and neutered so we don't have such a big kitten population challenge. But there's so many sweet babies that need to be adopted. So this was a great story.
Yeah, and just a big shout out to all the rescue organizations that are out there. They don't they don't make any money. They're losing money if anything. It's just something they do from their heart. And they're definitely doing God's work because those little furry critters would not be around if it wasn't for them. And so, just a shout out to all of them for sure. All right, we have a hero dog saves the family story. I love these.
A dog in Orange County being called a hero after helping save his family's home. Firefighters say Phil Moore started barking urgently from inside a home on Skyway Drive in unincorporated Tustin, alerting his owners to a fire in the garage. Family sprang into action using a garden hose to help slow the flames until crews arrived. Firefighters were able to contain the fire to the garage, preventing it from spreading to the rest of the home. After it was all over, first responders made sure to give Phil Moore some well-deserved praise. Luckily, no injuries were reported.
Fillmore, what a great dog, saving the family with a couple of well-timed barks down there in Orange County, California. Very nice.
I hope we got some treats, not just pets. Man, dogs, we don't deserve them. I say it a lot. We don't deserve them. They're so good. They're so sweet. They're so kind. They're so
smart.
They're smart and they're intuitive. So good for Fillmore.
Yeah, that was great. And you said exactly the name of one of our documentaries on Buddi. We don't deserve dogs. It's so true. They're great that, they have those heightened senses that we don't have. They know things that we don't know. So it's great that whenever they, do their job and, we need to take care of them. So, yeah, great story.
Treats.
All right. Next one is cats take over the Doggy Dash.
A big event to support local shelter animals is coming up this weekend. That's right, it's Doggy Dash 2026.
Fox 12's Spencer Schott stopped by Oregon Humane today and found out how this fundraiser is helping pet families all across the state.
While it might be called Doggy Dash this year, it's going to the cats.
Doggy Dash is, one of our biggest fundraisers. We do sometimes see some cats down at the event that are either on a harness or in a carrier, on a backpack. So while we do have Doggy Dash as the name of our event, we are still Oregon Humane, and we still raise money for all the pets that we help.
With Portland's Doggy Dash right around the corner, Dr. Steve Kochis wants folks to be aware of some of the bigger issues Oregon Humane is trying to tackle.
For a lot of community members, it's been an ongoing sort of struggle with access to services, access to veterinary care. And with that, unfortunately, comes lack of access to spay and neuter services, and then it doesn't take long for cats to reproduce and overpopulate.
Recently in Marion County, there was a family who had some cats that they loved very much, but without access to affordable spay-neuter in their area, they became overrun with cats.
Oregon Humane took in 35 cats from that home, including this excited little guy.
Just bring it with you. Oh, he's just gonna be free.
Who was named Snotty Pippins after the veterinary team had to clean out his sinuses. Kelly Bremkin is the veterinary social worker for Oregon Humane. So on big cases like this one, her job is to find the intersection between the help people need and what their pets need.
Because we really think that improving the life of the person can improve the life of the pet, and we want that for everybody.
Events like Doggy Dash make sure Bremkin can continue to connect community members to the resources that they need for their pets.
We want folks to know they can call on us, that they can get assistance, and that we are there for the long haul.
In Portland, Spencer Schott, Fox 12 Oregon.
Oregon Humane's Doggy Dash is one of the largest gatherings of pets and people on the West Coast. Registration is only $25, and you're invited to join Fox 12 at Doggy Dash Portland this Saturday at Tom McCall Waterfront Park, or in Salem on Saturday, June 6th. For more information, you can just head to the Fox 12 app.
Doggy Dash going on, and those great dogs, which we've already said we don't deserve, they're turning it over to the cats. Adopt a cat while you're at the Doggy Dash. Love it. Great. Looks like a really fun event. If we were in the Portland area, I'd definitely check it out.
If we were in the Portland area, we'd have another cat. Look, I think cats should take over the world. So what do I know? I think that's great that they're taking over the Doggy Dash, and I don't discriminate. I love dogs. I love cats. I love seeing them together. And I like to see when you have a function or an event or a promotion coming from a marketing perspective, when you have something that works, if you can add to it to deliver another metric. So coupling something successful like the Doggy Dash to then get some cats adopted, that's a win-win.
Absolutely. I particularly like the name of the cat, Snotty Pippins, which I thought was great. A nod to the great basketball player Scottie Pippen. So, hats off to Snotty Pippen because, I wonder if there was a cat named Michael Jordan or something close to that, could be.
That's cool.
All right. We have a great story here. It's, I think, just it's a good reminder how many animals need to be adopted. One of the facilities is waiving their adoption fees right now, so maybe someone in the area can make a note and go get their pet that's waiting for them.
New today, the Humane Society of Elkhart County is running an adoption special through Saturday after taking in 61 animals in one day alone. The shelter says 26 animals came from one cruelty and neglect case on Monday, with 24 dogs and 2 cats. Those animals aren't ready for adoption yet as they receive medical care right now. To make room for them, though, adoption fees are waived for dogs over 40 pounds and for all cats with free supplies included. Adoptions are first come, first adopt, and you'll need to take the pet home that same day, so keep that in mind. But donations are also encouraged right now. Let's help them out.
Yeah, let's do that for sure.
Great story. Great that they're waiving the adoption fees. But we talk about this a lot on this show, right? Make sure you're ready to adopt. Make sure it's a big responsibility, dog or cat. And we always also talk about maybe it's good for an older person in your family. Maybe you're an older person, but make sure you can take care of it. Have that conversation. What kind of activity level is this dog or cat? Make sure that's jiving with your life right then. But it could be a really good way to pick up a dog or cat that needs some love.
I love when they do this because it gives people an opportunity to see and, touch, feel, smell, be with the animals and know they're not going to have that barrier. But I could not agree more with Ryan because one of the worst things that we see are people that bring those pets back. It's just heartbreaking for the pet. They're confused. They don't know what they did wrong. They did nothing wrong, by the way. So it's really important to do your homework. But I do love to see opportunities for people to take a pet home that maybe they couldn't otherwise, or it's just one more thing that is like, oh, well, that's happening now, so let me go find my forever pet. So I love that.
Yeah, I think it's, again, hats off to that place that is doing that. And I think it's a good reminder that adoption is such an important part of our society and how we treat the dogs. And hopefully someone at home who's watching this story didn't miss that news story, and maybe they can find their way down there and find their new furry friend. All right, here we go. This is a great story about another great shelter that's doing great work.
KCBD News Channel 11's Jaden Santos tells us how one local shelter works with these animals to heal, rebuild trust, and get them ready to find their next loving home.
They just love you no matter what. Most of the dogs, they love you. They don't care if you've had a bad day. In fact, they really want to help.
For some animals arriving at Haven Animal Care Shelter, the first step isn't always adoption, it's recovery.
We make sure that they're okay. If they need to go to a vet right away, we take them.
Brenda Wilbanks, founder of the shelter, says animals come in with a different story, some facing physical injuries and others carrying emotional trauma.
Socialize them, and that can be just sitting with them and not getting too close, or It can be petting them, letting them sit in your lap, whatever they want to do.
Wilbanks says every animal heals at their own pace, and learning to feel safe again doesn't happen overnight.
Sometimes it takes days and weeks for them to adjust. And I think that's the hardest part of this, because it's hard to explain that to people, that it just takes a while. They don't know where they are. And some have never had a home. Some have been on the street and have never had a home. They don't know what to do.
She says adopting a formerly abused or neglected animal doesn't always come with an instant connection, but with patience, it can lead to finding your new furry best friend.
But we've had people who would come and get a traumatized dog, and they would just stay with it for weeks, months, and finally that dog would adjust and have, just adjust to the home, and they say it would be the best dog they ever had.
To set owners and the animals up for success, the shelter holds a 2-week foster period and conducts interviews before finalizing an adoption.
Hey, yo, how you going?
At Haven Animal Care Shelter, the mission is simple, making sure every animal gets a second chance at finding their forever home.
None of this is their fault. I mean, the ones who come here, even if they were a behavior problem, they did not do anything to be in a situation like out on the street or something. So definitely they deserve a second chance, and a third if they need it.
Jaden Santos, KCBD News Channel 11.
Well, the old adage, the higher the hair, the closer to God. They're doing the Lord's work down there in Lubbock. And, and we touched on this in this last story. The last story touched on this too. Hey, the animals are brought in, but they need a little time. They need a little time to work through all of their terrible things that they've gone through. The people there at Haven are doing a great job rehabilitating these animals, and then they're ready for adoption. And even still, it probably at that new home, it's going to take a little bit to get over those humps. And just powerful things, powerful stuff going on down there. And I'm glad they're doing this work.
That's the Lord's work. That's hard work. It's not the same as a regular shelter and a regular stray they take in. This is a whole different ball game. And I encourage people, if you are not in a spot where you can adopt because your husband won't let you, or because you can't have it in your house or whatever, donate, especially to groups like this that really could use. These guys are probably burning stacks of cash trying to get these animals to a place where they can be adopted out. And 100% agree with Ryan. Make sure if you take one of these pets home, you know what you're getting into, and you give them enough time to figure out their new surroundings and figure out where they are, because that's a horrible, even compounded worse than I took a kitten home and I decided I didn't want it running up my curtains and I bring it back. That's terrible. For an animal like in this situation, it could be the end of the road for them. So be very careful and be very sure.
Yeah, that's a great call out. I was thinking, it made me think of one of our dogs, Beverly. We got Bev, and she was probably about a year old. We're not sure, she was a rescue, but she had a real problem with resource guarding, where one of the other dogs, if she had a toy or food, anything, and one of the other dogs got near, she'd growl, she'd snap sometimes, and because you just don't know where they're coming from, and resources were rare wherever she came from. She obviously, was not, it didn't have a plentiful allotment, and she would even do it if you were giving her attention. If you were giving her attention, you were petting her, one of the dogs would walk by, she'd start to growl, maybe snap, because she was, protecting every resource. And so, it's I can't imagine what they're dealing with. It's great they have that 2-week foster program, to let them get to know each other, see if they are fit, see if they have the good environment, and they interview everyone. So, definitely hats off to that organization.
Buddy likes to resource protect his earplugs.
Oh, really?
Buddy, our cat, yes.
Earplugs. And then when Ryan goes to take his earplugs back, he growls. It's the cutest thing ever. It really is the cutest thing ever.
Oh, that's adorable. All right, we got one last story. It's going to be unpleasant. So watch out, Layla. Just letting you know.
It is one of the largest hoarding cases the San Diego Humane Society has ever seen. Hundreds of animals rescued from a sanctuary meant to care for them near Julian.
So this is video from Friday, which was the first day of the operation. It's now on its fourth day. NBC7's Jackie Crea is at the Humane Society in Moreno with an update on the possible criminal investigation. And then, of course, just this ongoing effort to get the animals to safety. Jackie?
The County of San Diego asked the San Diego Humane Society to lead this investigation. Of course, there are other agencies all pitching in to remove and assess the medical needs of every animal on that property. Now, we are told the sanctuary advertised itself as a place where someone could take their animal to receive end-of-life care or prevent them from being euthanized at, say, a shelter. We are also told there are animals that look okay on the property, and then there are those that are very, very sick. For years, several agencies were looking into this 40-acre property near Julian called Villa Chardonnay Horses with Wings, a sanctuary. Friday, the San Diego Humane Society issued an 18-page search warrant and found neglect everywhere they looked. More than 350 cats, around 165 horses and several ponies, 30-plus dogs, and dozens of other animals, including donkeys, alpacas, geese, chickens, and roosters, many of them sick.
I found a cat that had a massive wound on its neck where you could see deeply into its neck musculature that was just open. A cat that was completely missing its ear.
Most animals have been transferred to other places for care, but sadly, a handful, including kittens and horses, were in such bad shape they had to be euthanized.
It truly is appalling. It really is. There's no question in my mind that this is in the best interest of those animals' welfare.
Because the investigation is ongoing, San Diego Humane Society's Chief of Humane Law Enforcement, Jace Huggins, could not give detail on the possible criminal charges.
I think that for me at least, neglect cases are harder because oftentimes, in many of the neglect situations, it starts off with someone who wants to do the right thing and just can never figure out where the line is.
For now, their focus is to get every animal the proper care.
Making sure everyone's getting the feed they need, making sure everyone's getting the care. We have veterinary teams going horse by horse, doing intake exams, documentation of everything.
Yeah, it's a sad story, and unfortunately, what happens with these, it's almost similar to people that are hoarders of other, just newspapers and junk and whatnot, not living things. But it starts with a genuine desire to help, and then there's a sickness in the person, and they keep taking on animals, and they're basically hoarding animals. It's terrible. And of all these good places that we feature on Buddi News that are doing great work very responsibly, unfortunately now, it drags them down too. I get it. If you have a pet and for some reason you can't look after it and you need to take it to a place, and we're always talking about that, right? If you take it to that place and you don't think it's quite the right, you feel something's off, you see maybe some real thin animals walking around, take your pet somewhere else and let the authorities know, because unfortunately, very unfortunately, these places do exist. I'm glad this one got shut down in San Diego. Just, keep your senses about you if you ever go to these places and report them.
Lock them up. 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 I don't have a lot to say because I'm just going to burst into tears. Sometimes putting your animal down is the best gift you can give them. So taking them to a place like that is not going to make it better. And I think if you are running a place like that and you don't know the line, you should not be running it. And when you get to the situation that they are in, lock them up.
Yeah, agreed. I felt bad that, they had a lot of horses there, and, horses are not a inexpensive pet to take care of, and you really have to make sure you have the means if you're running a facility like that, a rescue or a sanctuary, because, it's not cheap. And, that officer said at the end that some of these people start off meaning well, and then they just can't figure out how to keep it going, so but unfortunately the pets are the one that pay the price, and so it's hats off to the people that are doing it right, that are taking care of it right, for sure. Well, unfortunately, that is all the stories we have. We're not ending on a high note, but I'm sure we'll be back next week with more uplifting stories.
1 week, you're just going to make it all positive stories.
Yeah,
just for
well, I got to get a good sound clip out of you, Layla, so I got to piss you off at least with one story.